Hi everyone, my name's Laura and this is So Very Laura, a channel where I bring to you my efforts to create a wardrobe which brings me joy. So today I'm back a little bit later than I'd intended with my Make 9 2024. So I thought that I was going to be able to do this pretty quickly after my last video. And then I had real problems in trying to actually pin down exactly what I wanted to say, so I might as well have started off with a Make 27 and got it down to a Make 18 and a Make 12. In the end, I did manage to pick 9 patterns that I want to say I'm going to sew this year. I did also say I might do an unconventional Make 9, but I've never done a Make 9 full of patterns, so I thought I'd give it a go and just see how I get on. So what I'm going to do, I will pop a picky of my choices up here and I'll run through them very quickly. And then I thought what I'd do is talk a little bit about how I've struggled and why I've struggled, and in the end the criteria that I used in order to create my Make 9, in the hope that if some of you are suffering from sewing overwhelm or the kind of I want to make all the things, it might help you think of starting from principles so that you can then use those to kind of narrow down what you're sewing, because in the end that's what I did. So without further ado, let's get on to what my Make 9 actually is. So going across the top column, this is where I'm going to have to look down because what you're going to be seeing here is currently on my laptop. So on the top of the first row, going from left to right as you look at it, I've got the Ellie and Mac Chapman cardigan and I want to make that in the longer length. Next in the middle I've got a Vogue pattern, and I'll put the pattern number down below because I can't actually see it from the picture that I've got from the pattern cover. But essentially it's kind of asymmetric jersey top, so that's my second choice. And then on the end on the right, I've got the Emily pinafore, which is from Bobbins and Buttons. And then on the row below that, I've got Atelier Jupe, the Frida blouse, which has been really popular in the sewing community for a couple of years now. In the middle, I've got the Ariel skirt from Tilly and the Buttons. And then on the end, I've got the Mountain View jeans by Itch to Stitch. And then on the bottom row, I've got the layer jumpsuit, which is by Fibre Mood, the Estelle dress by Sew Over It, and last but by no means least, I've got the unisex Belgian chef's jacket, which is by Folkwear Patterns. So they're my Make 9. So I don't know what you think of them. And as I say, I had real problems narrowing this down. So in honourable mentions, I would say, were also, what else did I want to put in and then I took out? I'm trying to think. I've got a bag pattern that I mentioned last week when I was talking about my progress on in 2023. So the Sally tomato bag that my husband bought me, so that nearly got on there. I had a shirt by Prima Patterns, which reminds me very much of the Donny shirt by Friday Pattern Company. I had a Birder t-shirt that I want to sew. I had some other trousers by Itch to Stitch, which I think are called Tilda. There's so many patterns called Tilda, but I think they're called the Tilda trousers. I'll pop a pic up here. So I was really struggling. So in the end, I thought, right, what I've got to do is think about what I learnt during 2023 and then go from there. So that's what I did, and that's how I kind of got to the choices I got to. So let me talk you through the principles, and I'll try and pop them up below as I go through, and hopefully this will help you to understand why I got to where I got to. So first principle, which is clearly not going to happen, was I want to make all the things. Well, that's just not going to happen. I just don't have time to make all the things. And anyway, make 9 is make 9. It's not make 27 or make 109, come to that. So the first thing that I thought was, I have a big pattern stash and I cannot lie. So I thought, well, really, I should say that I'm going to sew patterns that I already own and try and get some of my pattern stash work through, rather than picking things that I really like the look of but don't yet own. So that was my first criterion, that at this point, as in the point I'm filming this video, I must own the pattern. So that was my first principle. My second principle was, I have a pretty big fabric stash and I can't lie about that either. So my second criterion for the make 9 was that all the patterns I've picked, which must be from my stash, I must also have fabric in my stash that I can make them at least once. That doesn't mean that I necessarily will, but I will try to pick fabrics from my stash. And in some cases, I know full well that I've bought fabric which is sitting in my stash to make exactly these patterns. So hopefully that won't be too difficult. And then in terms of a couple of things that I learnt from thinking back over 2023, I do like wearing dresses and I do like wearing one pieces like dungarees. So at one point I was going to put in the peony dress, which I made last year. You might remember, I'll pop a pic in. I was going to put that in because I do want to make it again. And I was going to add in, there was another one, there was another jersey pattern. Oh, the Nomi dress, the sew over it Nomi dress. I wanted to put that in. And then I thought, no, because I also know that I have a big gap in the bottom halves in my wardrobe. So in the end, I settled for saying, okay, I'll put the Estelle dress in by Sew Over It. And the reason that one's gone in there is because I think it will work quite well for any time of the year if you make it in a lightish jersey, which is what I'm going to do. And also because so many of you, when I put my video up in Vlogmas, I'll link to it down below, when I did the shared Vlogmas, and I suggested that the Estelle dress would be a really nice dress to make for over the festive season. A lot of you said, oh, that looks great, you should definitely make it. And so I am going to make it in the fabric that I showed you. So I thought, right, I'll put that on there because that's clearly something that is a find and is something that I should then go ahead and make. I've put the Leah jumpsuit on there because I've got some lovely red fabric that I want to get on and make that in. And again, I think that's something that I could wear certainly 3 seasons of the year, maybe not in the height of summer. But because it's a one piece, I think, yeah, I'll enjoy wearing that. And also the Emily pinafore from Bobbins and Buttons. Again, I can wear that in the winter with a thicker sweater or even with a sweater over it. And in the summer, I could maybe wear it with just a little t-shirt underneath it. So I thought, okay, I've got 3 one pieces, but I need to do something about this gap in my wardrobe in bottom halves. And I also, in my previous vlog, talked about needing to think, in my goals for last year, I thought about needing to think about outfits rather than just sewing individual patterns. So that's why the Frida blouse from Atelier Jupe has gone in, and the Ariel skirt from Tilly and the Buttons, because I know that I have got 2 pieces of fabric in my stash. I've got a forest green corduroy that I can make the skirt in, and I've got a green, I think it is Atelier Jupe actually, fabric to make the Frida blouse in. So that will make a nice pairing and a nice outfit. That's why I've put those in. I nearly didn't use the Itch to Stitch Mountain View pattern, but that's there really to represent the fact I really want to make jeans this year. And I've said all along that would be a good starting point. I am still intending, I've still got to sew up a final version of my Sew Over It Stitch School body block. So I need to get on and do that, and then I'll be a bit happier about things like fitting crotch curves and things. So Itch to Stitch jeans have stayed in there. The other rule I put in, which I forgot to mention, was that I'm not allowed to sew more than one pattern from the same pattern designer in my Make 9. Had I been, and I put that in just to make me ring the changes a bit, had I said that that was okay, then there might have been a second pair of itch to stitch trousers in, the ones I said I'd pop the picky in of, because I do need some trousers for summer. But I am one of these people who tends to wear jeans all the year round. So yeah, it is what it is. And we're not saying I'm only going to make 9 garments. And I do really want to get on and get making jeans. So that's why the jeans stayed on the Make 9. The other thing that I know about myself is that I like a mixture of easy and more complex sews. And so my Make 9 is also designed to reflect that a little bit. So I think jeans are obviously a more complex sew. I think the Belgian chef's jacket might be a more complex sew. And I've got fabric for that. I've got a purple kind of wool blend fabric that I've got for that. And I think possibly the jumpsuit might be a bit harder or a bit more laborious. I don't know. I think the Frida blouse is not too bad, but it's obviously not a jersey top. And obviously I've also got the pinafore in there. So I'm hoping that they will kind of give me something to think about and will stretch me a bit and help me to extend and refine my skills a bit. Whereas the Chapman cardigan pattern and the Estelle dress and the Vogue top, I think will hopefully be relatively quick sews. And actually the reason I put the Vogue top in there is, one, because I'm not big on short sleeve tops, much as I do probably need some. And also because in terms of thinking about sewing my stash, you can make it with, for example, different sleeves from the top. And they show that in the pattern, and there's some quite striking combinations. And I suddenly thought this morning, I've got some fabric that I was originally going to make a sew over it molly top in, but actually it'll be perfect for making this. And so that's why that's gone in, to remind me that, yes, this is a stash buster Make 9, but it's not all about sewing big chunks of fabric. It might be that I can use things that are smaller pieces of fabric. These aren't actually remnants, but they are smaller pieces of fabric. One bit was the end of a bolt, so I think I've got about 1 metre of it. And just to remind me to think about what I've got in my stash in terms of bigger remnants that I can get on and use. So that's it, really. That's my Make 9. Gosh, I've gone through that quite quickly, actually. So this will be a relatively short video. Let me know what you think of my Make 9. Please let me know if you've made any of those. And if you have, please let me have any tips and tricks that you have to make my life easier. I know there's a lot of sew-alongs for the Frida blouse, including Andrea from Beyond the Pink Door. Oops, just knocking over I keep my overlocker thread in a big red bus bar half pint glass that I got from Usk's show. What I do when I'm sewing on my overlocker is, if I only need some for the needle, I stick a bobbin in it rather than using up or buying a second thread, and I just managed to knock it over. And if you heard a rustle, that's my trouser pattern from the Sew Over It Stitch School dropping off the top of my overlocker and landing on the floor, because it's chaos in here and it needs tidying. So yeah, as I say, that's it for this week. I will come back with another vlog hopefully next weekend to let you know what my plans are. Also what I might do, because one of the things I've struggled with a bit since I went back to work is sewing in the evenings. We're trying to eat earlier in the evening these days so that we have a bit more of an evening rather than eating really late. But the trouble is that then I have my dinner and then I think, oh, I'm tired, and I don't come up to my sewing room, whereas before I used to come up for, you know, maybe an hour before dinner. So I think what I might try and do is see if I can vlog a little bit every day and try and get in my sewing room, even if it's only for half an hour. So you might get a bit of a video diary video either next time or the time after. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're all well. And yeah, if you've enjoyed what you see and you like watching my content, please give me a thumbs up so that I know that this is the kind of thing you like. If you've got any ideas for future vlogs, please leave them in the comments. And if you'd like to see more from me, please do hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.